Once upon a time, a 6-year-old girl dressed as Belle from Beauty and the Beast faced one of her most feared nightmares to date, getting lost at Disneyland. That 6-year-old girl happened to be me. I can confidently say I do not remember much from my childhood, but how could I possibly forget one of my most traumatic experiences? You can say my family were pretty avid Disneyland goers. We went at least once a year when we were young. As our mom went to take yet another smoke break between rides, my dad took me and my siblings as far away as possible from the smoking section, which, luckily for me, was in Fantasyland. If you have not been to Disneyland, Fantasyland is a small haven for children typically under the 11-year-old mark, who can enjoy rides such as It's a Small World or Snow White's Scary Adventures. As I am frantically frolicking through Sleeping Beauty's castle, which is the pathway into Fantasyland, my dad reminds me that we must wait for my mom at a very specific churro cart. In the midst of my award-winning impatient fit I was throwing, I was struck by another young girl, also dressed as Belle, who was running towards the King Arthur carousel. Suddenly, a small gasp left my mouth, and my eyes as wide as if I had seen a ghost. I saw her. It was the real Belle. I soon felt the gravity leaving my body as I was weaving through a sea of children and parents. My eyes were locked on Belle's voluptuous yellow gown that made mine look like a miniature potato sack version of hers. I finally tilt my head all the way up to see the most heartwarming smile from a real-life princess. With no words able to leave my mouth, she says, "Where are your parents, sweetie?" Reality hits. My heart is now in my stomach as the gaze leaves my eyes. My 4-foot-tall body could not see over the swarm of people trying to take their picture with Belle. My first intention was to run as fast as I can back to the churro cart. Unfortunately, being a 6-year-old with no directional skills, I was stuck. I suddenly was in a maze of strollers, lines, and kids just like me, throwing a fit about something as ridiculous as waiting for their mom for 5 minutes to take a smoke break. I tried using context clues, such as my dad, who wears a specific and very 90s geometric print button-up every time we go to Disneyland, or my sister, who was dressed up as Princess Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. Unfortunately, there are many dads in similar shirts and even more little girls in Sleeping Beauty costumes. As panic was settling in, I started thinking Disneyland would make me play as one of their seven dwarfs for Snow White in some sort of Disney jail if my parents never found me. In that very moment, I felt alone, almost invisible to the people surrounding me. Lack of breath from running, with snot and tears down my face, left me useless to ask for help. After running and crying around the maze of people, my pea brain remembers one final clue as I look up at the Dumbo's flying elephant ride. That specific churro cart was chosen for a reason. This was because it was the only one in the park with a picture of Dumbo on the outside of it. With there being at least 4 churro carts in Fantasyland and possibly around 10 other carts such as popcorn, drinks, pretzels, etc., this was still not going to be so easy. Courage was finally settling in. I am now bolting past Mad Hatter's Tea Party and Pinocchio's daring journey on my quest to find the Dumbo churro cart. Bobbing my way through strollers, princess tutus, and lollipops forgotten on the floor, I almost began to reach Buzz Lightyear's speed. The sweet aroma of cinnamon suddenly caressed my nose. As I came to a screeching stop, my dog-like senses led me to a large family with freshly warmed churros. Yet no churro cart in sight. Defeat was settling in. I took one last look around before I plopped myself on the floor, waiting for the Disneyland police to take me as their prisoner. Wiping the snot and tears off my puffy eyes, I looked up to see that I am propped against a churro cart, with the sweet sight of Dumbo planted on the side of it. In the distance, I finally see that outdated geometric print shirt my dad adores, and the reassuring sight of my sister in her Princess Aurora pink dress. As my dad was anxiously talking to a staff member, I bear hug his leg as fast enough for him to drop the churros he got for us. I start screaming, "I remember the clue, I remember the clue." With confusion written over his face, he hugs me tight and doesn't let me go. In that nostalgic moment of comfort and love, I realize something very important. Parents always go above and beyond for their children. Whether or not I would have mindlessly gravitated to my favorite Disney princess or not, they ingrained in me the guidance I needed to get back into loving arms. From then on, I made sure wherever we went, whether it was Legoland, Disneyland, or even the grocery store, I made sure we always had a Dumbo, which was a safe spot that we all knew, just in case my epic fate was challenged yet again.